Hello and welcome to Darkness Descending presents the North American Amateur Starcraft League. Season number 2, week number 1, and game number 1 between players Glorifundel, the red Protoss in the top left, and players NickNack, the light blue Protoss in the top right. We are on Delta Quadrant, which as you know is a very large map, but we do happen to be on adjacent spots, so a relatively short distance between the two players, so even though the map is large, the distance between us is not that long. So I was actually really excited to get a Protoss player because I've been working on an anti-4-gate strategy. I particularly like it because it's somewhat sneaky, and I love sneaky things. Because as you know, Protoss games are almost always either some form of cheese or a 4-gate. In fact, you're almost guaranteed to get one of those two options. What actually occurs is you act as if you are doing some sort of 4-gate. You put a pylon down at 9, you drone up a little bit higher than you normally would before you put a gateway down, then you toss a gateway down, act as everything is normal, nothing to see here, folks, and then you send a probe out to make a proxy base with 2 gateways. And what this does is it allows the other player to believe that you are also doing some sort of 4-gate strategy. It does have a tell, of course, which is you don't get any gas because you're trying to conserve minerals to make that heavy zealot push. But when you come into the base and if you see that they have a cybernetics core down or a gas down, you pretty much have won the game already. And the nice thing is if you see they have a double gateway, it still gives you time you can cancel any other buildings you've made and go back and do something else, like either make a forge for the imminent attack, or drop gateways in your main base so that everything's located in the same spot. But in any case, you come back to your base, you start creating a zealot, and you would rally it not to the opponent's base but to your proxy. As you notice, I still don't have another gas. I am putting down an extra pylon though. And as you can see, we have NickNack here trying to go for straight up as fast as humanly possible for warp gate. So the 2 extra gateways will come out relatively quickly. You will have your 1 zealot. You'll get to chrono boost out your 2 additional zealots. And another thing you should do is also drop down a forge. Now what the forge does for you is, in this case I was kind of silly and didn't have a probe out there, so I canceled it and sent the probe out after making the forge. But what the forge does for you is the zealots are essentially acting as just a distraction technique. They're there not to kill everything, but to keep everything occupied. And you do continue to make zealots as essentially more distraction. In this case, there was only the 1 pylon for all those gateways, so there's really not much in that would be a game. If he had had an additional pylon, what you would do is you put a pylon outside of his base, and you just use the zealots to just soak some damage while you make 2 to 3 cannons. And once those 2 to 3 cannons are up inside his base, the game is usually over. But in this case, I just got lucky. I got very lucky because his warp gates were completing. So it would have been a close game, but I probably still would have made it because I had the extra zealots coming out. In any case, thanks for watching. As always, if you like these games, please subscribe and rate.